Hello, everybody. My name is mariammemar sadeghi. I'm so happy to be with you. I participated in We the People. The first year was offered many years ago. I'm originally from Iran. For quite a few years now, I have adapted and translated the center's curricula so that people inside Iran can access it, teach it to other people. We use things like Zoom and social media. I wish you all the best, and I'm already proud of you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Christopher Riano. I am a professor of constitutional law and government at Columbia University and assistant counsel to the governor of the state of New York.
Hello, everyone. My name is Darcy Kern. I am a professor of history at Southern Connecticut State University, and I also am an alumna of the program, and it's a great program, so I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we're able to do this with you.
Could you all introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Rory Miller.
I'm Emily Gerber.
And I'm Ganeesh Varadarajan. We're all seniors at Raleigh Charter High School in Ms. Klein's Constitutional Issues class.
Fantastic. I'm going to read the question. We're going to get started. So we are Unit 1. What are the philosophical and historical foundations of the American political system? Aristotle asserts in Politics that it is not the form of government, ruled by the one, the few, or the many, that matters most, but rather the ends of government that are most important. Where in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution did the framers set forth the ends of government? How did the framers differ, if at all, about how the ends of government should be prioritized? Which of the ends of government set forth in the Declaration and Constitution appear to have the highest priority today? Please begin.
Aristotle believed that there are both right and corrupt forms of monarchies, aristocracies, and polities. In Politics, Aristotle places emphasis on a ruler's intentions for the government, not the number of rulers. In order for a government to be in its right form, Aristotle says, the ruler must prioritize the common good.
The framers set forth the ends of government in the Declaration of Independence and the preamble of the Constitution. The ends of government are highlighted in the first two paragraphs of the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration focuses on protecting the unalienable rights of the people, including life, liberty, and property. It states that the government should lay a foundation and structure itself to affect the people's safety and happiness. To separate from Great Britain, the Declaration of Independence set forth a new government to prevent tyrannical leaders. By making the people's rights a priority, the government cannot gain too much power.
The preamble outlines 6 broad ends of the government: forming a perfect union, establishing justice, ensuring domestic tranquility, providing for the common defense, promoting the general welfare, and securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. The framers wrote the Constitution to fix the problems created by the Articles of Confederation, and wanted to create a government that would provide for the welfare and happiness of the people.
The framers almost entirely agreed on the ends of government in the Declaration of Independence and the preamble, but differed on the means to achieve those ends. There is a divide between Federalists and Anti-Federalists on the size and strength of the national government. Another major divide between the framers was between larger and smaller states on whether there should be equal or proportional representation in the Houses of Congress. The states agreed that the government's power should come from the consent of the people, but they disagreed on the best way.
However, some framers disagreed on which end should be prioritized in order to have a strong, successful union. For example, Thomas Jefferson wanted an agrarian society, while Alexander Hamilton wanted a more commercial society with strong relationships with foreign nations. Also, Southern states such as South Carolina thought that the government should protect the institution of slavery.
According to the polling by Pew Research Center in 2019, a majority of both Republicans and Democrats said creating jobs was a priority. A majority of both parties also agreed that prioritizing reduced healthcare costs should be a priority. These priorities promote general welfare.
The priorities of President Trump's administration can be clearly identified from the national budget. President Trump is prioritizing common defense through a 6.7% increase in the 2018 budget for the Department of Homeland Security. President Trump also suggests a $582 billion increase in the budget for the military. He has prioritized security to protect the United States against illegal immigration. His administration prioritizes common defense and securing the liberty of U.S. citizens.
In 1999, Democrats and Republicans agreed that the top priority should be education. But in 2019, Democrats believed healthcare and promoting general welfare should be prioritized, while Republicans believed protecting against terrorism and providing for the common defense should be prioritized.
Furthermore, the partisan divide over the past 20 years has become particularly large for a certain set of issues. For example, 2/3 of Democrats believe that climate change action to promote general welfare should be a priority, while only 21% of Republicans say the same. Conversely, only 31% of Democrats believe that strengthening our military to provide for the common defense should be a priority, while 65% of Republicans have this outlook. Thank you.
Great. So we are under particular strain as a country because of COVID. But even before this crisis, do you think we had an inability to agree on the basics of the ends of government? Were we too polarized as a society? Is it unhealthy for a democracy to be that pitted against itself? Can you speak to the role of media and social media and political parties? And do you see this as a problem, or is it really just the same old, same old?
Personally, I think it's healthy to have differences in opinions because it brings in different outlooks. So I think we'll have more diverse options to solve a problem. But I think that since the role of the media has become stronger, we have become more polarized and people are becoming more tied to their party and not tied to the issue that they're believing or supporting. So I think that while the media has brought up more attention, I think it also has brought some problems.
Yeah, to kind of go off what Emily just said, in terms of the polling data of people in North Carolina, especially having doing the reopen protests and protesting on the streets for the economy to be reopened instead of the social distancing, only 16% of North Carolinians feel that the reopen movement is valid and that we need to open up the economy again. But the media is making it feel like there are a lot more people out there who believe that.
I feel like another thing that the media is creating is a general distrust of the Chinese government right now, and which is kind of leading to the Americans wanting to prioritize common defense more. For example, according to the Pew Research Center now, 62% of Americans think that China is a threat, and 57% of Americans are concerned about cyber attacks and Chinese threats, and 49% are concerned with China's military power and how it's growing.
So, I mean, then that kind of leads that to this question of then how do we protect this concept of good government? If that's the answer to the questions on social media, I mean, how do we then focus and think about good government today?
I think this solution is really in the government's thinking of the unintended consequences that can happen even if you have a well-intentioned means. So for instance, in 2013, there was a Minnesota law that banned the box that convicted felons had to check on job applications. And the law was meant to eliminate discrimination within the workplace and job hiring. But instead, the people who were hiring actually ended up racially profiling a lot of the job applicants. And there were a lot of unintended racially discrimination things that happened in the workplace. So I think that if the government does more to anticipate the unintended consequences, it'll be a better place for everyone.
I agree with Rory. So I feel like the ends and the means of the government need to be thought about before making policies. And for example, before the 17th Amendment, the Senate was not directly elected, and it was elected by the state legislature, and that was ineffective, and that made the Senate not prioritize ensuring domestic tranquility during the 1850s when the people were kind of divided on the issue of slavery, and so a lot of Senate seats were empty, and so that added to the problem of ensuring domestic tranquility. So after the 17th Amendment, the Senate was more better able to have a good government, and it was better equipped to handle these polarizing problems.
I think kind of going off what Ganeesh is saying, I think representation is really important. So we have proportional representation in the House, and I think that better represents what the American people want and the issues that we want them to talk about, rather than the Senate's equal representation, because the people in California aren't equally represented as, or like there's more over representation in Wyoming rather than in California through the equal representation in the Senate. So I think that the representation that we have in our government will ensure that the problems won't continue.
Look, if the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and Aristotle was very skeptical of democracy, and so was Cicero and Plato, how do we balance the rights of the majority, the ends of government towards the general welfare, with the rights of minorities, whether it's the 16% marching on the Capitol in North Carolina, or whether it's a prisoner who is, having to check a specific box? How do we balance these two in considering the general welfare?
I think this goes back to public feeling and how people feel in a society, because as Aristotle said, it didn't matter whether it was the one, the few, or the many. The people should feel represented. So I think that we really have to go to the polls and the way that the people are feeling, how democratic their government is, or how representative it is, like Emily was saying earlier.
I feel like we should create more more political efficacy with minority groups, like Rory said, and they should be encouraged to vote more, and they should be encouraged that their vote does matter. And I feel like that can be done by showing them that that they're being represented, and I feel like that will help kind of balance the two things.
Very good. Okay. You guys have a lot to be proud of. You worked well together as a team. I think that Unit 1 is a very special unit because it's really what makes America America. It's what makes America unique in the world. These are the documents and the ideas that when not just Americans, but any people or any movement around the world wants to become free, wants to press for independence, wants to press for creating a new, brand new polity. They're referring to this stuff. And it's big. And at a time such as our circumstances, it's very relevant. It's very helpful to go back to those ideas. And you guys, I'm sure you're really valuing the experience, but as time goes on, you're going to value it even more, because you're going to find that you have an advantage compared to other people who have not immersed themselves in particularly the Unit 1 stuff of this curriculum. And you have a huge advantage because don't discount it. Bring it into everything that you do as a citizen, as a civic participant, but also in your, choice of your undergraduate major, your career possibilities. No matter what you do, the ideas here are going to be relevant. You can bring them in. And I wish you all the best, and thank you to your teacher.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I think you all did a great job working together. You obviously know your materials. We were asking some harder questions because we knew you could manage it. I thought the examples you brought in were good. And I think, overall that you definitely showed us that you know what you're talking about. Unit 1 is the fundamental unit. So if you understand these fundamentals, you can really begin to wrap your mind around government in general and the idea of the relationship between people and the way in which government functions. So I thought you all did a very good job, and you should be very pleased.
I thought that was very sophisticated, particularly your opening statement. You talked about how the framers differed on both the means to achieve the ends and what the end which end should be prioritized. And I thought that was very sophisticated analysis. I think I liked that you said it's healthy to have differences of opinion. I liked how you said that, the ends and the means should be thought through, and that, people often have good intentions that go sideways. And I think that's one reason why Aristotle was so concerned with democracy, is that people can have the best of intentions, but it tends to devolve to mob rule because they don't think things through. And I thought you guys did a very good job.
Hey, Rory, I really like your bedroom. I think it's your bedroom. I love the decor behind you.
Thank you. If you got to see really close up, it's a lot of government and feminist and suffragette quotes on my wall.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's great to get to know you guys even a little bit here. Again, I wish you the best.